Hi, this is author-philosopher Ronald E. Springer for EthicsUnderground.com responding to Black Pigeon Speaks, Why Radical Individualism in a Tribalizing Society Won't Work. Our favorite filthy city bird offers many great well-reasoned arguments, but the sense of hopelessness in this video, not becoming, not objective. Polling done is rarely a sound cross-section of humanity. It's often rigged or simply one-sided for a myriad of reasons, from the questions asked, to the people asking, falling far short of a reliable measure. If they polled students on a college campus, that isn't objective as the majority of America's future leaders aren't there. 56% of business owners didn't go to college, and small business owners are the backbone of America. 68% of Americans over 25 do not have a college degree and are not represented in the polls. The media also is heavily weighted in favor of the fringe left. That's their pool of idiots used to scare America into directions of their choice at the behest of the corrupt elite who own the media and fund the demonstrators. They serve the same master. The rational left and right aren't shocking or newsworthy. They are the voice of hard work and boring sensibility, so they're not permitted a platform, but they make up the silent majority. As the father of a millennial, I saw a lot of smart but timid kids who just went along with what the extrovert kids did. Once they find their own footing, they'll abandon this insanity and choose a productive life. I also work with many college-degreed millennials from the STEM fields and have no issues with them at all. They're fine. Just like we saw in the 60s, most flower children got serious and became yuppies, while a small percentage hung on to their aimless spirituality and idle peace and stayed lost. It will be so with this generation. The rubber band will snap back. As you mentioned, college millennials have suffered thorough indoctrination, and K-12 is where the real reform is needed. But the great contrast between good and evil they've witnessed may offer the stark reality they need to see a better path. Once they realize they're being used, once they see that the socialist, feminist approach offers them nothing but penalties, they'll be ready and hungry for something new. And then they'll want clarity, purpose, and direction. So you say we can't count on individualism to overcome tribalism. Unfortunately, the problem with individual leaders is they don't travel in herds, while the opposition does, and that is a risk. A man alone is easy prey, but numbers aren't all that matter. A minority of sound minds created this country, so we can sustain it and reclaim it if necessary. A small rudder steers a big ship. It is from the individual that all technological advances come. It will be an individual creation, something coming out of left field, something totally unexpected that changes the very fate of mankind. I can offer something that could do just that: instant moral clarity. As a philosopher, I've developed the world's first fully integrated moral code based on nature itself, with the aim to protect and empower the individual and unite mankind like never before. I call it moral armor. Now, I grew up in moral confusion just like everyone else, and I knew that there had to be a better way to make sense of everything, a simple way to get along in the world and wipe out the majority of my stress, fear, uncertainty, and hesitation. I found it, and I'll tell you its essence right now. Most think it takes years to acquire moral clarity, and through religion and empirical reasoning, that's been true for centuries. But with moral armor, I can do it in minutes now. So let's do it. If you accept that the natural, practical standard of good and evil is life and death, that which furthers life being the good, and that which takes it from you being the evil, then we have a bridge between us all that we can build on. What's nice about this standard is it brings moral awareness into everything we do. Morality is not just something you pay homage to for a few hours on Sunday, then forget about while you're busy making a living. Morality measures the means by which you pursue the goal of living, so it should be everyday useful. The historic starting point is what's always been wrong, so bear with me. This is where the very subject of morality gets turned on its ear. The actual source of morality has always been awry. Morality doesn't start with a kind smile, a shared seat, or anything between men. It is not primarily social. It begins alone in our relationship to existence itself. For philosophy fans out there, the solution was found in epistemology. What I've discovered is that there's a pattern to cognition that we all share, and that our pattern of thought is the exact same pattern necessary to sustain biological life. The steps that keep your body alive are the same steps the mind uses to do it. This natural process is the basis for sound mental health, sound relationships, and provides the structure for mankind's proper organizations. It governs and can be seen in all human action, and can help us return morality to the constructive, life-shaping tool that it was meant to be. This life pattern is the same for all of us. What's really fascinating is that even plants and animals follow this pattern. All living entities must seek a course which allows an unhampered continuance in the flow of their lives. To achieve this, as people, we all have the same senses, we all use the same dictionaries, and our actions either succeed and bring us values or fail and bring us penalties. We all require the same nutrients to survive. The needs of water and oxygen are obvious, but such needs reach a lot deeper than most imagine. Our physical needs transcend straight into our mental processes. Every man's mind classifies information alike, building concepts in a four-step pattern, and we either reject this natural design or learn to act in accordance with it. Its first step is perception, absorbing what we hear, see, smell, and feel. The second step is identification, where we determine what our senses are picking up, distinguishing objects and their relevance and value to us. The third step is creative action, working to achieve some constructive end. The fourth and final step is the validation of all that has come before, the result. For self-made man, most often the result is a reward, a beneficial outcome such as a positive emotional state, a touchdown, or a paycheck. Of course, the fundamental purpose of the pattern is the preservation of life itself. The pattern is simple: perception, identification, creative action, and reward. We see what we want, we identify the means, we take action, and we get a result. All human action follows this pattern, from applying the brakes of a car, to getting a drink of water, to running a business. We all use this process in everything we do, all day long, every day of our lives. In order to survive, we must make choices. In order to validate our choices, we must accept a standard of value by which to weigh them, and the standard for man and all living things is the alternative of life or death. The conscious choice of life-furthering action is our key moral choice. Steering a car, crossing a street, selecting groceries, pursuing a career, these are all decisions originating through sensate perception, which begins a thought process of determining what will further our lives versus what will take it from us. The whole structure of consciousness is meant to protect us, from the need of clarity and confidence, to the stable environment we achieve through our work, to the pride we feel by doing it right. Cause and effect can be identified from one end of it to the other. Its purpose is to produce confidence, which is a constant indicator of our physical and spiritual well-being. But confidence attained is never a fixed state, is it? It can vary from brimming to anemic, just as our situations vary. It needs replenishing even more frequently than the body needs food. We've been taught that pride is evil, but pride, or self-esteem, is simply our awareness that the majority of our actions are correct, a reward we have to earn every day and which we could not live without. The closer we get to practicing the structure nature intended, the healthier we are psychologically. Now, this pattern goes on and will go on, with or without your awareness of it. If you take control of the pattern, you can have complete moral certainty in all of its rewards on demand. Morality is not primarily social. It begins alone in our relationship to existence itself. Our first moral obligation is to achieve independence. We have to be competent enough to sustain ourselves. In the social realm, we just have to do it in a civil way. It's that simple. After building a sound individual, you need a simple frame of reference to act within. All data has to be manageable in thought, so I developed a grid system, a structure for all human action. I've classified our actions into 4 realms: the individual, the social, the artistic, and the institutional. The individual realm is each man's relationship to existence itself, how he interacts with nature, and what it requires of him to survive and thrive. The social realm is how he deals with the people he knows, his family, friends, clients, and bosses. The artistic realm is the realm of projecting our highest and best. It's about what a man thinks is possible to himself and to mankind, and what his deepest feelings are about the world and about the stature of human beings. The institutional realm is how men set up their organizations. Is it to clear the way for the pursuit of happiness for all, or is it a meat grinder? Businesses, governments, laws, these are institutional designs. Ultimately, it's a window to our soul, and the souls of those now in power, because it means how we treat people we don't know. This structure resulted in a major unexpected advantage. Not only could I integrate ideas 4 times deeper than anyone else, I could extend much farther in my thinking, because the energy I needed at the base levels was so much less than before. Think about it. The number of scenarios in life is infinite. The number of personal attributes is staggering, not to mention all of the behaviors we exhibit with our friends, our family, at work, and in crowds. It's much easier to digest the information if it's categorized into bite-sized pieces. So that's the frame of operation. 4 realms of life, each building on the one before: the individual, the social, the artistic, and the institutional. First, we have to satisfy the requirements of life in order to survive, or in other words, to be physically fulfilled. Having achieved independent life, we can move into the social realm to live and work together. We can then stylize our lives to become the highest and best possible, to be unique, to be spiritually fulfilled. When we see what achieves the greatest health, the greatest freedom, what provides the best educations, and how to make our living efforts flow most efficiently, we can then lay down a plan to implement it by designing our institutions accordingly. And America has more of this correct than any other country in the history of man. So, Mr. Pigeon, the individual is the answer because there is no other. Individuals thinking and acting alone or in groups is all we can appeal to. Our Bill of Rights are designed to protect the individual as the smallest minority as he moves through this world. It is the bright energy he wakes up with every day. It is his dreams and the civil action he takes to achieve them that powers America. The decision to act is his and his alone. It is self-generated and cannot be managed from the outside. America is designed to keep the living generators free to run at their highest capacity. They only need to rediscover it, and moral armor can help them secure our society faster and easier than ever before. So buck up, little camper. All hope is not lost. For those who recognize the value in this and wish to flesh it out, I'm reading Moral Armor into YouTube, so it'll be free. Please stop by my channel and subscribe. Also, you can visit ethicsunderground.com for more info and to see my other books and CD programs. And of course, there's more to come. Thanks for listening. This is author-philosopher Ronald E. Springer for ethicsunderground.com. See you next time.